Today I will teach you how to graph horizontal and vertical lines. I will teach you the acronyms that are going to help you to recognize which equations are for horizontal lines and which equations are for vertical lines. The first acronym is HOY, H-O-Y. H stands for horizontal. The O is going to make you think of zero. Horizontal lines have zero slopes, and the line will cross the y-axis. So this is my y-axis, the line that runs up and down on the graph. And I have graphed two lines here. The first one crosses the y-axis here at -1. So that point where the line crosses the y-axis tells you how to write your equation. You're going to remember to use y. So y equals -1 is the equation of that line. In my next graph, here's my line. This crosses the y-axis at +3. So my equation is y equals 3. The next acronym is BUX, B-U-X. And this stands for vertical. Vertical lines have an undefined slope, and the line will cross the x-axis. So here is my x-axis, the one that runs left to right. I have a line graphed here, and it crosses the x-axis at +3. So my equation will always start with x for a vertical line. X equals 3. The next graph has a line that crosses the x-axis at -2. So the equation of this line is x equals -2. So let's practice graphing these lines from an equation. So let's start with horizontal lines. We're going to graph the line. First, we're going to decide, is it a horizontal, vertical, or diagonal line? State what the slope is and what is the intercept. So for my horizontal graphs, number 1, y equals -6. That y immediately tells me this is a horizontal line because of HOY. So the answer to the first question is it's a horizontal line. The second question is, what's the slope? That O in my acronym HOY tells me that the slope is 0. And the third question is, what is the intercept? Well, my equation tells me that. My y-intercept is -6. So my x will always be 0 in a y-intercept. And that is my intercept, 0, -6. So to graph this, I start with that intercept, 0, -6. And I know it's a horizontal line. So I only really need to graph or to plot one point before I draw a horizontal or a vertical line. Okay, number 2, y equals 4. What is this? Is the line horizontal, vertical, or diagonal? That y tells me there's no x in this equation. So a diagonal line would have an x and a y. And just a y tells me that this is a horizontal line. The next question, what is the slope? A horizontal line always has a slope of 0. And what is the intercept? Well, y equals 4 tells me that the intercept is 0, 4. So plot that 4 on the y-axis and draw your horizontal line. Okay, let's continue to answer those questions for the next graphs. X equals 7. So remember, VUX, that means that this is going to be a vertical line. Vertical lines always have an undefined slope. And the intercept is given by the equation x equals 7. It crosses the x-axis at 7, 0. Because remember, an intercept always has 0 for y. So now I plot 7, 0. And I know this is a vertical line, so I only need to plot that one point and draw the rest of my line. Number 4, x equals -4. So again, that x equals tells me this is a vertical line with an undefined slope. And it crosses the x-axis at -4, 0. So -4 is here on the x-axis, and I can draw the line. Now I just want to show you a couple of examples you're going to see on your practice in Delta Math. So let's see, I'll show you graphing a vertical line first. So I have the equation, graph the line x equals 5 on the axes shown below. So you need to look at that equation and decide, is this a horizontal or a vertical line? Given that we know that x always is a vertical line because of VUX, vertical undefined x axis, this will be a vertical line. So now you'll see a vertical line show up on the graph, and you need to drag it to the appropriate intercept. X equals 5 means that it's going to cross the x-axis right at 5. So that looks pretty good. Submit. Okay. Now I'll show you an example of a horizontal line. Remember, it's not going to tell you what it is. It's asking you whether this is horizontal or vertical. So the equation for the line is y equals 4. So now we think of horizontal with a 0 slope that crosses the y-axis. So I'm going to tell Delta Math this is going to be a horizontal line. Y equals 4 will cross the y-axis at 4. So I need to drag the line to 4. The other type of problem you're going to see on today's practice is writing the equation. So now it's not going to give me the equation of the line. It's going to give me an already graphed line, and I need to look at it and decide what the equation would be. A vertical line makes me think of VUX, vertical, undefined, crossing the x-axis. That tells me this is definitely going to be an x equals equation. And then I just find, where does it cross that x-axis? It crosses at +5. So the equation of the line is x equals 5. Here's a horizontal line. I need to tell Delta Math what the equation of this line is. It's a horizontal line, so I think of horizontal, 0 slope, crossing the y-axis. That means my equation starts with y equals, and it crosses the y-axis at -2. So the equation of my line is y equals -2. And that is what you'll be doing today on your practice.